Today on the podcast, proxy parties, a solution to corruption. Hello, and welcome to Democracy in the Digital Age. I'm Laura, and today we're diving into a critical issue facing democracies worldwide. How can we ensure that politics truly reflect the will of the people? To help us tackle this question, I've invited Markus to join us. He's a systems modeler and a passionate advocate for grassroots democracy. Markus, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Laura. It's great to be here.
You're here today to talk about a project called TrueRepublic and the concept of proxy parties. Can you explain what that is and why you believe it could be significant for democracy?
Well, before diving into that, I think it's important to provide some context. As far as I know, the term proxy party was first introduced by Peter Money in his book from 2018. The name of the book is Shortcut to Direct Democracy: Achieving the Impossible Within the Current System. It's a fascinating concept, a fresh take on grassroots democracy. A proxy party places the will of its members at the forefront. Unlike traditional political parties, where decisions are often made by a small group susceptible to corruption, proxy parties are designed to truly reflect the will of their members. The technical foundation for this idea is our platform called TrueRepublic. To be honest, it's still mostly a concept at this stage. The platform is decentralized and allows for secure and secret evaluations. It is designed to ensure transparent decision-making processes. It really opens up opportunities for active participation in ways that were not previously practical. You could think of it as an innovative tool that makes large-scale grassroots democracy feasible. Whether for political parties or other organizations, it's a way to involve more people in decision-making processes.
But isn't that exactly what our current system of representative democracy is supposed to do? I mean, we elect people to represent our interests, right? So why do we even need something like TrueRepublic? What's the purpose?
That's a great question. Look, in theory, a representative democracy is supposed to reflect the will of the people, isn't it? But in practice, it doesn't always work out that way. Politicians sometimes lose touch with the people they're meant to represent. They get influenced by lobbyists, party structures, or major donors, people who often have their own agendas. And what happens then? Decisions end up favoring a small group at the top instead of addressing the actual needs of the people. The idea behind TrueRepublic is to change this dynamics. It's about giving party members direct influence over decisions. This allows more people to actively participate in the process, which in turn reduces corruption. Members can propose ideas, evaluate solutions, and vote, all in a secure and anonymous way. The system is decentralized and open source, ensuring transparency and preventing manipulation. It's a practical way to bring democracy closer to the people. How parties ultimately use the platform is, of course, up to them. There will likely be a range of applications, from political parties with grassroots democratic elements to full proxy parties, where members make all the decisions themselves. TrueRepublic is flexible and can be tailored to the needs of any group. For instance, it could even be used by businesses to have customers evaluate their products.
Let's stick to politics as an example for today.
Agreed.
What about referendums? Aren't they supposed to be a tool for direct democracy? How do they fit into all this? Will systems like this replace referendums?
Referendums are a great idea on paper, no doubt about it. But in practice, they're rare, and when they do happen, they're incredibly slow. It can take months just to bring a single issue to a vote. And let's be honest, people don't always have full trust in the state systems that organize these votes. That's a problem. TrueRepublic, on the other hand, takes a completely different approach. It's flexible, fast, and independent of traditional state systems. This independence is key. It also removes many of the logistical hurdles that make referendums so cumbersome. The goal is to make the process more accessible and efficient for everyone.
But aren't there already software solutions for this? What makes TrueRepublic so special?
You're absolutely right, but there are very few decentralized solutions out there. And honestly, who would want to entrust something as sensitive as this to a single company? That's a huge risk and raises serious concerns. That's why decentralization is so crucial. But it's not just about being decentralized. There are other essential factors that need to be addressed to make a tool like this truly effective.
What factors are you referring to?
There are 3 key points here. First, censorship is a major issue. Any moderated process carries the risk of suppressing opinions. It's just a reality. So what do we need? Mechanisms that completely eliminate the need for moderation. This can only be achieved through neutral, transparent rules. These rules must be automated, free from external influence, and equally applicable to everyone. Put simply, everyone must be able to understand these simple rules, and those rules must be fair and consistent. Second is time. Political engagement and participation on a platform like this require time, and time is valuable, especially for working people. If you want them to get involved, there needs to be some form of compensation. That's only fair and ensures genuine participation. Third, the platform must harness the power of network effects. This is crucial for taking an idea from niche adoption to a large-scale movement. You need that exponential growth to create transformative impact.
Okay, but what about delegated voting, like what's offered by systems such as liquid democracy? When people can trust someone else with their voice on certain issues. What do you think about that? Is that progress or just another way to complicate things?
Laura, there have been some pretty poor experiences with delegated voting. Our goal is transparency of will, and delegated voting tends to distort the picture, which is a significant problem. It's far better for users to inform themselves about a topic and make their own decisions. In this way, TrueRepublic fosters self-education.
That makes sense. But some might think, aren't political parties more of a problem than a solution? And don't we risk the tyranny of the masses with more democracy, as libertarians often argue?
Laura, I hear these objections often, and it is important to address them. Let's be honest. Our current system can best be described as state capitalism or governance through corruption. It has very little to do with what true democracy is supposed to be. The original idea of a democracy was simple but effective: to limit the power of elites in order to prevent exploitative structures. In my opinion, this is essentially what democracy was supposed to achieve. But the libertarians are right. We need less state control and more freedom. However, that freedom will only come when people truly have a say. If laws apply to everyone, then everyone should have a fair chance to influence those laws. And let's face it, that's just not happening today. We vote for political parties, not policies, and politicians often don't even know what their voters or party members think. There's a disconnect, and that's a massive problem. How can representative democracy function if representatives don't understand the will of the people they're supposed to represent? This is exactly where proxy parties come in. They can bridge this gap and ensure that democracy functions as originally intended.
Interesting. Let's talk about security and anonymity with TrueRepublic. You're asking people to trust a digital platform for decision-making. How do you guarantee their privacy and protection against manipulation?
That's the real beauty of decentralized systems. You don't have to trust anyone in the traditional sense. Instead, you trust the code itself. TrueRepublic uses advanced cryptography and decentralization to ensure both security and anonymity. Each user has asymmetric key pairs, much like Bitcoin. Public key acts as a digital signature, but here's the crucial point. It's not linked to any identity. The network doesn't know who owns which key. That information remains entirely with the user. No ID or personal data is required to use the platform. Additionally, the platform is decentralized, meaning there's no single entity controlling the data. And because the code is open source, anyone can inspect it in order to verify its integrity. The goal is to minimize the need for trust while maximizing transparency and reliability.
That sounds promising. But didn't a German political party, probably pronounced D-Basis, try to bring grassroots democracy into politics? They weren't successful, right?
There have indeed been several attempts in this direction, Laura. You mentioned this German political party whose name I cannot pronounce. They had the right vision, no doubt about that, but unfortunately, they lacked the tools to make it happen. They promised a swarm tool for internal decision-making, but they never delivered. Without a secure platform for evaluations, their decision-making remained centralized, and the promised bottom-up democratic structure never materialized. TrueRepublic is here to fill that gap. The concept was designed to provide the technical foundation for genuine grassroots democratic structures, secure, decentralized, and truly functional.
Okay, but what about manipulation? What's to stop powerful actors from flooding the platform with fake accounts or simply buying influence? How can we ensure this doesn't just become another way for elites to control everything?
We address this challenge on multiple levels. First, groups organize themselves into domains. Each group requires an administrator whose primary role is to invite legitimate members into the group's domain. That's essentially their only task, ensuring only authentic members join. This prevents fake accounts from infiltrating the domain. This responsibility remains with the group or organization and not with the platform. Second, we have a concept called proof of domain. This ensures that the network is run by active members, not investors or external actors. It's a safeguard that keeps the platform in the hands of the users. Finally, a fee is charged for submitting proposals. The fee benefits the domain and thus the group itself and has several advantages. For one, it helps prevent spam. The fee benefits the domain itself as it's used to reward members for their evaluations. This approach not only deters spam, but also promotes quality and collaboration. Because proposals can also be submitted jointly, allowing members to share the fee and work together on submissions.
Will a proxy party have only one domain? Or are we talking about multiple domains for each organization? How will this work with all the different areas of influence and decision-making? Will it operate under one banner or several?
Every organ of the party, from local chapters to the national party, can organize itself within its own domain.
I see. But what happens if a user loses their wallet or their computer is stolen? How is that handled? Is there a way to recover access, or is it game over? What kind of security measures are we talking about here?
Great question, Laura. You're really digging into the details, and I love that. Yes, we've thought this through carefully. The client software is password protected, so even if someone steals your device, they can't start voting immediately. The affected user would need to contact their domain administrator, explain the situation, and create a new wallet. Here's the key part. Since the connection between the alias name and the public key is unknown to the network, all legitimate members of the domain receive a new invitation and must re-register. But honestly, the user won't notice much of this. The technical processes are handled seamlessly by the client software. It's smooth, hassle-free, and ensures everyone's security without causing disruptions.
So, you don't need to be a tech expert to participate?
Not at all. Most people don't fully understand how their smartphones work, yet they use them every day. This is no different.
You mentioned economic incentives. Will TrueRepublic have its own cryptocurrency?
Exactly. The currency will be called PX, named after the historic site in Athens where citizens gathered to debate democracy. It's a nod to the origins of democratic discussion. Like Bitcoin, PX will reward node operators for maintaining the network. However, we've expanded Bitcoin's economic model. The network will reward not only the operators, but also active users. This is designed to promote participation.
Okay, but what if a troll manages to infiltrate a domain and disrupt it with obscene proposals? Would members have to endure that for weeks until it disappears on its own? After all, No one would know who the troll is, right?
Good point. First, the troll would have to pay to submit proposals. That means he loses coins, while other members of the domain earn coins by evaluating his proposals. If a proposal gains no support, it disappears after a set period. Each domain can individually determine how long the period should be. But here's the critical part. Deletion can happen even faster. If 2/3 of the members agree, the proposal can be removed immediately. No administrator needed. This empowers the community to make decisions together, without relying on central authorities.
Okay, so the troll won't have much fun. But if submitting proposals costs peanuts, wouldn't wealthier domain members have more influence?
If someone submits proposals frequently, he will naturally spend more coins and become poorer, while the other members of the domain grow richer by evaluating those proposals. Every member can earn coins through evaluations. Even those with fewer resources can eventually afford to submit their own proposals. And the costs are not fixed. If someone has great ideas but not enough coins, they can seek supporters to share the costs. This promotes quality because in order to gain support, you need to present strong arguments, especially when money is involved. The goal is to foster an environment where well-argued, high-quality ideas thrive.
But who ultimately pays for these rewards?
You could say that each organization pays for its own domain or domains. But that's not entirely accurate when you think about it.
You mean because the organization is made up of its members, and the economic power ultimately flows back to the members, no one really pays?
That's a fair way to look at it, Laura. Take a political party as an example. Typically, it gets funding through membership fees, donations, and even state subsidies. A portion of these funds could be used to acquire Pinex coins. This process is straightforward through the integrated decentralized exchange. DEX. Why spend so much money on campaign posters? Instead, politicians could engage directly with their members through the platform. They could run campaigns by simply promising to respect and act according to their members' will in Parliament. It's a much more direct and honest approach. Incentivizing participation is the best campaign strategy, at least for parties that genuinely care about member involvement. After all, investing in members' participation is far more impactful than spending money on marketing or superficial advertising.
All right, but how would that work technically? From the perspective of proxy parties, how do they gain access to Pinex, and how does the platform attract members? What's the process?
Okay, the party would first purchase coins on the decentralized exchange using Bitcoin and then set up one or more domains for its members. When the party submits proposals for evaluation, it effectively loads the domain with payouts. We call this process pay-to-put. Members who evaluate or vote on these proposals earn coins through what we call rate-to-earn and vote-to-earn. Payouts from the domain wallet are processed automatically and according to predefined rules. This ensures that all members are treated equally. Neutrality is very important in order to make the will of the members transparent. However, once members have earned their coins, they can exchange them for Bitcoin, use them to fund evaluations of their own proposals, or save them to build a stake and operate their own network node. But there's another effect we have observed with Bitcoin. The value of the currency is ultimately determined by its use case. If there is a real use case for it, the value will increase as more people use the network. In Bitcoin's case, the main use case is paying transaction fees.
Wait a minute. Can I buy things with Bitcoin?
That's absolutely true, Laura. But within the Bitcoin network itself, you can only pay miners. In return, you get the assurance that your transaction is processed correctly and that the total Bitcoin supply will never exceed 21 million. The same principle applies to Pinex. There will never be more than 21 million Pinex in existence. Here's the key difference. Pinex has additional use cases. You can create a domain and immediately receive feedback from your peers on your proposals. This gives the coin additional practical value beyond being just a currency. That's why we believe the coin will appreciate in value, potentially even more than Bitcoin. Essentially, the resources an organization uses to learn what its members want, capital that ultimately flows back to active members, becomes more valuable over time. It's a true form of capital leverage that benefits everyone involved.
So if I understand correctly, when we use crypto to solve a problem that there is a real need for, we are tapping into something that has real value. So crypto is essentially providing the economic energy to make things happen, right?
Well, I would rather say that crypto sets the necessary energy free, but I'm not a philosopher.
Maybe you are. But aren't we at risk of attracting people who participate just for profit when we use financial incentives?
Economic incentives already existed in the old system, but here, the incentives are totally neutral. Members are rewarded for participating, regardless of how popular a proposal is. This ensures that evaluations are honest and conviction-driven and not strategically motivated. The idea of rewarding political work isn't new. However, in a proxy party, decisions are made by the party base. It is therefore obvious that the rewards should also go to the base. The platform makes this possible for the first time.
Back to the evaluations and rewards. What's the difference between rate to earn and vote to earn?
Rate to earn rewards members for evaluating proposals, which are rated on a scale from -5 to +5. The platform's neutrality fosters honest feedback and ensures the ratings are based on genuine opinions. Then there's vote to earn, which helps prioritize proposals. For example, if a proposal doesn't meet a domain's minimum approval threshold, say 5%, it will disappear after a set period. This keeps the system focused on relevant topics. One mechanism is for evaluation, and the other filters out proposals that lack sufficient support. These simple mechanisms, along with a few additional rules, eliminate the need for moderation. That means there's no censorship. Everyone has equal influence over decisions.
But TrueRepublic isn't a discussion platform, is it? Doesn't politics need debate and dialogue to truly work? How can we have those conversations if the platform doesn't provide space for discussions? Can it still be effective?
The user experience will be calm and relaxed, very calm. It definitely won't feel like a typical party conference. But look, just because it's quiet doesn't mean there won't be debates. People are already forming opinions in plenty of other places. At home, around the kitchen table, in pubs or online. Discussions happen everywhere. It's simply not practical to force everything onto one platform. Trust me, the data volume would go through the roof, but anyone submitting proposals can reference other spaces for discussion. This way we get broader debates, more resources, and keep things efficient. The goal is to create a simple, flexible system that enables the best solution for all use cases.
When will all the PNX coins be in circulation? And what happens then?
Look, the number of coins released through domains and nodes actually decreases as more coins come into circulation. Over time, fewer and fewer coins will be created. But here's the unique part. Coins can also be destroyed. For instance, if a node malfunctions, its state gets reduced. The same applies to domains that remain inactive for too long. After a certain period, their balance is halved each year. So, it's a cycle. And I'll tell you this, it's very unlikely that all 21 million coins will ever be fully released. The system is designed to maintain balance.
Fascinating. But let's talk about scalability. Can this system function on a national or even global level?
Absolutely. The domain structure of TrueRepublic is highly scalable. Each domain operates independently, but uses the same infrastructure. That means TrueRepublic works equally well for a small local club or a large national political party. Now, here's where the network effect kicks in. Since all domains use PNX, the network grows stronger and more secure as it expands. A larger network leads to greater demand for PIX, which increases its value and encourages more participation. This creates a self-reinforcing feedback loop. It will keep growing. The only thing that could slow it down is if our society becomes fully democratized. But until then, it's only upward momentum.
Yes, I think that's the kind of economic force we need. But how do you convince people, politicians, parties, or voters, to actually use this system? What's the pitch? How do we persuade people to adopt something that might seem entirely new and risky?
Change is never easy, Laura. We all know that. But the benefits are crystal clear. Proxy parties that use TrueRepublic can attract members by offering them real influence and even direct access to Bitcoin, which is huge. And let's not forget the politicians. They benefit too. They gain transparency and a clear mandate from their party members, making them less vulnerable to lobbyists who often wield too much power. The real turning point will come when people see real democracy in action, whether in a party, a company, or a community. Once people witness it working, success will build trust. And trust drives adoption. It's really that simple.
On which platform will development take place?
We're considering using the Cosmos SDK. It's widely used and has many proven modules we need for our project, especially for integrating the decentralized exchange. Additionally, Cosmos, with Tendermint, offers a very efficient blockchain. That said, the development effort ahead of us is still significant.
You mentioned the PIX coin supply is fixed. Who controls the coins at the beginning?
No one controls the coins. We're keeping pre-mining to a minimum. Initially, only 7 nodes will hold stakes. This is necessary for the testing phase. These nodes will be assigned to the developers and key supporters, essential for the testnet. There will also be test domains where users can familiarize themselves with the software and earn coins. Later, they can use these coins to start their own domains. A portion of the coins will be placed in liquidity pools so users can exchange them for Bitcoin. Altogether, this will make up less than 5% of the total supply. The rest will be gradually distributed through an interest mechanism tied to the balances of domains and node operators. Most of the coins will go to the domains. Only active domains and nodes earn interest, ensuring that the coins flow to users who are active participating. The inflation rate is therefore tied to activity and locked capital, which is great for price stability.
Why should people in the crypto scene support this project? What's in it for them, especially considering there are so many other things they could support?
Let me be clear. There will be no initial coin offering. However, significant supporters can apply to operate a node in the test network. For Bitcoin enthusiasts, the primary motivation is likely the creation of a new use case for Bitcoin. A Bitcoiner could hardly wish for anything better than a strong movement of people who not only own crypto, but also influence crypto regulations. Right now, many see crypto as a quick way to get rich, but we need to think bigger and recognize its true value. And that value lies in decentralization. We either recognize and harness this incredible potential or miss the opportunity, and with it, a massive chance for real progress.
So, does true crypto adoption begin with politics?
Peter Cipher wrote an article about this topic.
And when will TrueRepublic be available?
That depends entirely on the community. TrueRepublic is a grassroots project built on voluntary developers and supporters. In particular, it needs groups to spread the idea and organize crowdfunding. Any group can independently fund a developer they trust and bring them into the project. That's the only way true decentralization can emerge. No company or government can achieve this. But given the increasing surveillance and weakening of democratic structures, we should act quickly.
How can people get in touch with you?
The best way is through Telegram, t.me/TrueRepublic. The white paper is also linked there.
Markus, this has been an incredibly insightful conversation. TrueRepublic and proxy parties could genuinely revolutionize democracy. Thank you for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you, Laura. It's been a pleasure.
That's it for today's episode of Democracy in the Digital Age. If you enjoyed this discussion or want to learn more about TrueRepublic, Check out the links in the show notes. Goodbye.